What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and yeah, look, I've had a few days off, and it's been nice. It's been nice, you know. You just compose yourself, get back into it, and yeah, I just felt like I needed a couple of days off, little break, and I've had one. And you know, thanks for the support and the messages. There's nothing wrong. Just thought I'd have just a couple of days off. In terms of Everton, there's been a few things this week. First of all, ticket prices and season tickets were announced, which has caused a mixed reaction. Now, it's very easy for me to say, as a non-season ticket holder, it's a whatever price rise. Look, I think it's about a tenner a month or whatever. I don't know. Or 60 quid a year, whatever it is. It affects people differently. So, look, if you are affected in a negative way, I'm really sorry to hear it. You know, I hope it means you can still go to games somehow. But, you know, I hope you can find a solution. I don't know how, but I hope it's okay. And if it's not a big issue, then happy days. If there's going to be more season tickets available, then, you know, maybe me and Finn might get one this year. You know, that's sort of how it boils down in my mind. So we've had that. The biggest thing, actually, the biggest annoyance for me, again, look, it's not a huge deal, and I'm not going to sit here and, you know, singing and praising and almost being disrespectful. I'm not going to do that. But the Boreham Wood game, the Brentford game, the Everton tickets were £15. Boreham Wood on a Thursday night at Goodison, they're £20. So is that because they don't think the demand for them is going to be as high, so they've had to put a fiver up on them? I don't know. Look, I'm not a businessman in that sense, but just it didn't sit well with me, that personally. I almost think there should be a structure in the FA Cup. You know, they're going to go up to £40 or £50 if we get a Premier League team in the next round, if we're successful after potentially beating Boreham Wood or not. It just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me, but that's just my opinion. And there will obviously be less kids in the ground as well, so there's been this £5 increase, yet there'll be less kids to buy tickets. So, because obviously it's a Thursday night and kids will have school the day after. So, you know, for example, Finley would have come with me if this was a weekend game, but because it's a Thursday night and he's got school in the morning, I won't do that to him. Although he probably would prefer me to take him to the football and him not go to bed. But look, that's just... there you go. Anyway, right, let's get into your match preview. It's Everton against Southampton. And Frank Lampard again spoke today. Ridiculous questions about the boxing in his press conference. He had ridiculous questions last week about politics or something like that. He's got ridiculous questions this week. I'm not saying that these questions should be vetted, but they absolutely should just be about the squad and the game and maybe plans going forward. Didn't make sense to me, some of them questions, but look, that's just on me. That's just my opinion. We go into the game off the back of a 3-0 win at home against Leeds, a game that was massive. Let's be honest, it was huge for Everton. And we go into this Southampton game for the first time in a long time. We've not maybe a bit of a skip in our step. We know it's early days, and you know, we didn't put in a great performance away at Newcastle literally 3 or 4 days before that game against Leeds. So we can't necessarily be mega confident going into this game that we're going to go and get a result at Southampton. But we were going to be more confident than we would have been if we'd have lost at home. Which, genuinely, 4 weeks ago, I think we'd have lost at Brentford. I think we'd have lost to Brentford in the Cup, and I think we'd have lost at home to Leeds. Because I had no hope. I had no image of us ever winning a game again. I was convinced we were going to go down under Rafa Benitez. And, you know, Lampard's come in and he's been efficient. That's what I would say Lampard's been. He's been efficient. He's playing players in the right positions. He's setting us up to be on the front foot. We are being prepared to press. We are trying to get a team that is all about battling and winning and showing heart. And, you know, you saw that against Leeds. And I'm hoping we do the same at Southampton because, you know, I think we've only picked up 6 points away from home this season. One being a win at Brighton. I think it was a few draws. I think we've lost 7 out of 10 at home. Away, sorry. So this is a game that, you know, can equally stop the rot away from home. Do I think we'll beat Southampton given this current form? I think it's a tough game. Southampton are fantastic at home. I think they're unbeaten in their last 8. You know, we've all heard about Brozier and you know, Che Adams and all the other players that are in that side. Very good footballers. Nathan Redmond is also back for them as well. They've got a few issues at the back, I think, but all in all, they're a decent side, Southampton, and you know, they have this yearly 9-0 defeat, but actually they're not a bad side. You know, they're probably going to finish in and around the top 10 this season, between probably 8th and 12th. And that's probably Southampton's level right now. And Everton need to go into this game. And although we are below them in the league, we are 16th in the league, we need to show that, you know, we've got a bit of pedigree and we've got a manager that's ambitious and wants to win. We've got a team of players that, you know, are man for man Southampton better than Everton? No, they're not. So Everton need to go there, put their authority on the game early, pass the ball around nicely like we have been, keeping that possession up and, no, not letting Southampton cause us problems. Again, they play different to Leeds in the sense that they're much more progressive through the lines, whereas Southampton are very much... No, Leeds, sorry, are very quick footballing side, whereas Southampton are very progressive. They're very tactile. They'll play football, they'll play around the back, they'll play in midfield, but equally they can go long, and they've got quality in their side. Players like Armstrong in the middle of the park, or, you know, if he pops up on the right hand side, he's dangerous. Everton need to be completely aware to that. Everton have to be all over that, and, you know, Armstrong's particularly is a player that I really rate, but they've got some good ones. They've got some really, really good players who can cause Everton problems, but so have we. You know, we've got a Donny van der Beek, we've got a Dele Alli who may come off the bench, may start the game. You know, we've got an Alan who looks much, much better, who can control the midfield. And we've got players who can run off each other, who can be aggressive. We've got Gordon who will run the lines. We've got Richarlison who is not scared of anyone. And hopefully we're getting a much fitter Calvert-Lewin this week than we did against Leeds, who will be able to put in maybe even more of a shift. So I'm hopeful in that sense. John Joe Kenny play left back. I actually have no problems him starting left back again this week. I thought he was fantastic. No problem with that. People have mentioned about Alex Iwobi. Should he start this game? Should he not start this game? You know, can you give him the benefit of the doubt because he had lots and lots of bad games, but he had a good game last week. So does that give him his place automatically? Frank knows, not me. So I'm sort of leaving it down to Frank, and I trust him. And that's the big difference with Frank as a manager. I trust him, and I trust him because I feel like I can relate to him. He's a manager that I watched as a football player. He's somebody who I know wants to win. He is a winner, and I trust winners with our football team. And people will say Rafa Benitez was a winner, etc. Rafa Benitez hadn't won anything in about 8 years. Frank Lampard lifted the Champions League trophy in the last decade, or was at least in the final. You know, he's won cups, he's won Champions League, he's won Premier League titles. Yes, it was all as a player, but it doesn't just automatically go from player to manager, and that doesn't relate, because in certain situations he knows what to say to those players because he's been there, he's heard it, and the managers that he had at the time, it worked for them. The styles may have changed, but the conversations won't have. You know, if you've got Anthony Gordon at 19, 20 years old sitting in that dressing room just before he goes out onto that pitch at St Mary's, and he says to Frank, look, any suggestions on this? Frank is much more relatable than Rafa Benitez. Even Carlo Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti's a winner, no doubt about it. And I mean, he's under a bit of pressure at Madrid, but he'll still win that league, I suspect. But Lampard has literally been there in the last 10 years. Literally in the last 6 years, he's been there. So, you know, Everton players will feed off that, and our younger ones will. In terms of injuries, yep, Damari Gray's not back, Fabian Delph's not back, Doucouré's not back, Ben Godfrey's not back. You know, Delph isn't necessarily a big miss, but Godfrey is. You'd probably argue Damari Gray is probably one of the most important players in the Everton side, but we managed to dispatch a very decent Leeds side 3-0. So we've just got to go into this game with that confidence. We've got to be able to break the channels, and we've got to be able to play pretty similar to Leeds, but we've got to be more wary of Southampton because they will pop a ball over the top. They will use the pace and strength of Brozier and Adams over the top of us. So we'll use Nathan Redmond on the left-hand side, who will cut in on Coleman. They will do that. We know that. So we just have to be wary for it. And obviously, defensively, they've got some centre-halves and they've got some real height. So it's not going to be easy to win balls into the box. So we've got to play football. And if we play football, I think we can beat them. I think we can beat Southampton. Now, I'm not going to sit here and give us a score prediction that I think is you know, pony. I'm going to be straight. I think Everton can win this game. And I think Everton can win this game by being disciplined, being aggressive, getting the fans quiet early, and just playing football. Because if we try to play Southampton at Southampton's game, I don't think we win. But if we really press Southampton, but are defensively astute enough for their counter-attacks, I don't think they beat us. But you've got to argue, if Everton get that wrong, Southampton have got enough quality to go and get a result. Of course they have. You know, they're sitting higher in the league than us for a reason. But we've got to have hope. We've got to have confidence. And I'm predicting Everton win 2-0, 2-1. Goalkeepers, Pickford, obviously. Left back, John Joe Kenny. I'll go with Holgate and Michael Keane at the back. I'll go with Seamus Coleman at right back. Nathan Patterson obviously will be fighting for a start, but I think his starts will come in the FA Cup this season. I definitely think he'll start against Boreham Wood. Midfield, I'll go for Alan. I'll go for Donny van der Beek. And I do go for Iwobi again. Or will he play more forward? But anyway, and then your other three will be Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin and Anthony Gordon. And look, that's a team that I think is capable of beating Southampton. Southampton score goals. They play good football. They defend well. They're not a bad side at all. And when you look at Southampton statistically, again, just breaking down what they're doing as a football team, Hasenhüttl's got them playing great football. They're very organised and, you know, they can do a job. But defensively, at times, they've been frail. They've only got one more clean sheet than Everton have this season. In terms of Southampton's stats, just to give you some, they've conceded 30, gave it 7 goals and scored 30. So, you know, it's not like all of a sudden they're a brilliant side. They're just a good team in the Premier League, capable of beating anyone in their day, but also equally capable of losing to anyone. Very similar to what we are right now. In terms of stats for Everton, just to give you the comparison, Everton have scored 28 goals, 2 less, and conceded 38, 1 more than Southampton. The losses are much more. We've had less shots on target than they have. And Southampton have also had more big chances mixed at 25 against our 16. So, you know, they've got a bit more spark creativity wise, but that would have been the way that we'd been set up. That would have been the way that Rafa Benitez set us up, and I suspect by the end of the season we'll probably be in front of Southampton in some of those key metrics. In terms of possession overall last season, it's probably about 45%, whereas Southampton's is slightly more, probably around 51%. So, look, all in all, it's a big game for Everton because it stops that away day hoodoo again. And we've got to hope for 3 points, in my opinion. We get 3 points in this game. I think all of a sudden, you're no longer worried about the run at the end of the season. You're definitely no longer worried about relegation. And I think you can almost sleep at night a bit more. So, look, guys, I'm leaving it there. Fairly long preview today. Some exciting news. We will be having a new show done on Mondays, which will also be a podcast showing on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Pod, all of that, called the EFC Debrief. So that'll be really exciting. Got intros being made as we speak. So yeah, all good, guys. Guys, keep smiling, up the toffees, and look, if you live down south, be careful. Don't get blown away. And I look forward to seeing you on Saturday for the match reaction. Peace.